Yes, yes, bless up people, you done know. It is I and I, Blind Visionary, aka The Conduit, back with another review. Before I get into the review though, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know when we post new shit. Big up to the corner crew, you done know. Anyway, without further ado, today's review is the latest release by Philly heavy hitter slash icon slash legend slash Army of the Pharaohs aficionado, Reef The Lost Cauze. Title of the album, Triumphant. Very, very, very appropriate name. Because man, this is some triumphant shit as far as the human experience expressing itself through this thing we call hip hop. And if you're expecting to just get some stripped down, played out boom bap, soulless, effortless shit that is like flooded all over the underground, that's not what you're gonna get here. If you're expecting to turn up and get lit, that's not what you're gonna get here. You're not gonna get no shoot 'em up bang bang shit here. You're gonna get what I'd like to call music for people with gray hairs in them beard. This is what this is. I mean, yeah, it has its rapidy rap moments sprinkled throughout. Because I think you'd probably have a headache if it was just heavy, 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 heavy from start to finish. Because trust me, it is heavy. And it goes out with a big ass 2-ton anvil dropping on your head as far as pulling at those strings that are the soul of the human experience. Now, if you've lived, if you've grown, if you have a family, if you have regret, if you have trauma, if you have personal internal demons that you're battling, if you live a life that is an actual life and not delusion, then this is an album that will resonate with you in a lot of ways. I mean, it's kind of just remarkable to see a human being's journey and their growth and their evolution and the realization through their music. It's a brilliant observation and a brilliant, like I can't just imagine if we, the listeners, are looking at this guy's journey. Imagine the journey from those close to him and imagine the journey from, his perspective. This is the closest to it I think we can get. And man, what a journey. I appreciate honesty. I appreciate vulnerability. That doesn't make you less of a man. Actually makes you more of one. Let that sink in. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, I mean, this brother, he goes to some places. And I appreciate that. And I'm sure a lot of listeners who are operating from a certain frequency will appreciate it as well. There's a lot here to appreciate. If you get it, you get it. But if you don't, that's all right. This is one of these records that's not for everybody. But it's definitely one of these records that is very significant to not just the culture, but music in general, and the human soul, and the human experience. And yeah, I kind of sum this up as therapy. And the production is not in your face bangers. I mean, there's one or two, but the music that accompanies these personal words couldn't be in your face, because the star of the show here is Reef's soul. And the whole purpose is him bearing it to you. The music is just a backdrop to keep rhythmic pace. That's how I see it. No pun intended. But yeah, if you like real, mature, honest, authentic, deep slash heavy slash touching slash inspiring shit, then the Triumphant is the album for you. If you're not there, then fine. Go listen to MC Washrag and Kick Rocks. Yeah, but anyway, For everybody else, not only listen to this, support this album, go buy it on Bandcamp, because this is definitely an artist worth supporting, so we can get more music like this. You don't know. Anyway, we now get to the section of this review where I basically break down the songs track for track. If you've seen my reviews already, you already know the drill. So let's get into it. The intro, track 1, Eulogy. Normally, as I've stated before, I'm not really a huge fan of drumless production. But being that this is an opening and it's just one verse, and it's kind of just setting you up for what you're going to be in for, I'll allow it. This can slide. And it also is like a nice alley-oop to kind of set you into the first actual song, which is In Dreams featuring Earth the Villain, or Villain. My phone says Villain, so I just gonna say Villain. Maybe just spell it wrong. But this is very soulful. This is very touching. This is very personal. This is laying back in a therapist chair and just listening to some shit. And whereas it's not really specific, it kind of points you in the direction of, okay, this is where you're going to be going on this journey. Because there's some personal shit, there's some brain food, there's some jewelry, but then there's like a little tip of rapping, the rappity rap sprinkled in. It's kind of like, the salt. But it's kind of like, a good, I would say, the trailer to the movie that you're about to watch. That and the eulogy, like both of them. So if you have digested these 2 tracks so far and you're content, you'll basically love the rest of this album. And man, are you in for a ride. So the next offering is track 3, Rafael de la Ghetto. And this is one of those rapidy rap songs. So you see, there's variation, and I appreciate that. Big up to whoever sequenced this album. Put the songs in the right order. And this is kind of a MOP vibe to it, but Reef not really in your face. Reef has never really been in your face. He have a dangerous, laid back vibe. That's always been his vibe, but it's like, subtle but confident. And this has a beat change. You thought it's probably a different song, but then you look and you're like, oh shit, it's the same song. And then you actually realize it's the same song when it kind of comes full circle with the cannons on the left, cannons on the right thing. And you're like, yeah, dope. But then he's like, okay, maybe you want some more shit talking rapidy rap. So then you have track 4, Empty. And I'm giving this a pass because it has a sample that's been used a couple of times, but the way it's used in this is actually different, and it fits the material that's being presented very, very well. And most importantly, the ad-libs are great. They're very Jim Jones type, but more hilarious. And I actually have to say that, ad-libs are actually entertaining in this particular case. And this happens a couple of times throughout the album. It happens again in the next song, Tangerine, which I did a quick look on a couple of weeks ago. And this is, again, laid back, but in your face shit talking with some entertaining ass ad-libs all the way through, including the icing on the cake at the end, which is the Skeletor ad-lib. Spoke about that before, but not a solid track. So far, so good. Then we have When the Heaviness Really Starts to Heavy, The Lights of Day. Song about drinking, alcoholism, the toll it takes on the person, the toll it takes on the person's loved ones, the cry for help, the why the hell can't I stop doing this shit. That's all here on a very eerie, neo-soul sounding type, beat with some even more eerie vocals discussing the matter at hand, which is the subject of this song. And then you have Reef just pouring him soul out, and you feel it for him. And you feel it if you've been there yourself, or if you know somebody who's in that situation, or if somebody close to you who you love. I just lost somebody recently to addiction, and alcoholism was a part of it. So yeah, this is some universal shit right here. And the album is like, all right, you know what? The heaviness start. Let's just go with it. So at the end of this song, before it goes into the next song, if you don't skip, you'll hear an excerpt from what I believe is He Got Game, with Denzel talking to his son. And that's a conversation that hits home for a lot of people because it's been had a million times and it's very, very relatable. And then it transitions into a very, very relatable song as a man. If you've grown up with an abusive father who wasn't the father he was supposed to be, and then you worry about passing that on to your children, and in some cases you end up doing the things you said you would never do, and just the guilt that hangs over you, but then the commitment of staying present to being like, okay, I'm going to beat this, I'm not going to be like him, I'm going to be the father for my kids that they couldn't be for me. And you're like, yeah, big up. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but a necessary one if you've been down this path, and you'll really, really connect with it. Dope production too, by the way. I mean, the front row seat is Reef right here. Reef is the front row seat. Reef is the actual star on stage. Reef is the Coliseum. You know, the music just is lucky to be there. So then we get to Fences. And, oh shit, no. Fences is the name of the song, my bad. Yeah, actually fucked up. Who would have thought? Okay, so after Fences, we have Miraculous. Sorry about that. Back on track. Now, Miraculous is heavy, but it's not, oh my God, my head hurts heavy. It's a hold your head up with pride. You know, embrace your blackness, embrace your history type of song. Acknowledge where you come from, acknowledge the people who had to sacrifice and die to get us to where we are now. And then it transitions over into the second verse, so there's all of the people from different various walks of life that come from blackness that make up, you know, the majority of our existence. Well, some of us, you know, were like, yeah, this really is one of those for us songs. And it make you feel good, make you feel empowered, and just like, yeah, we here. So then we have 9, We Are Around, featuring I Know Brasco. Now, based on the hook of this song, it's obvious that this was like tailor-made for a live performance and like crowd participation. Here we go again. Crowd participation type shit. And this works very well. There's some rapidy rap shit by both MCs, but yeah, I think Reef is the MVP on this track. I mean, Homeboy did his thing, but yeah, Reef is in his bag right now. And yeah. So then we get into track 10, Papa Dose, featuring Jillian Taylor and Ruby the Hatchet. This is the Mushroom song. Now, mushrooms are a very interesting thing to talk about. And there's a way to do it in a song without sounding corny as hell. And without actually sounding like a damn drug addict. And this does it in a very, very hip hop way, but a very hip hop hippie way. And it kind of sheds lights, northern lights to that matter, on the fact that basically mushrooms are awesome. Yeah, it's a very trippy song. And it's not for everybody. I can get why people might skip this, but yeah, if you have embraced mushrooms and you're on a journey, whether it be ego death or as the song suggests, popping doses, then you don't know. Mushrooms have been a very significant part of still keeping me here, let's just say that. But anyway, from being up in the clouds, from being high out of your mind on this trippy ass song, down to earth, you slam. Umar's Revenge. Now this is my favorite rapidy rap song, and the excerpts from Umar are perfect. Umar and him delusional, arrogant ignorance. It fits perfect with this. With the most sinister beat on the album. And yeah, Reef just really shows out. Like, this was one of the first songs that came out a couple of months ago. And I was like, yeah, we're in for a treat with this album. And I was right. Dope song. Very, very dope song. It's probably the only moment on the album where you feel like you're gonna punch somebody in the face. So yeah. So then we'll have Young Ball or Bull. I don't know. I'm not from Philly. But this is a dope story song about the come up of a young youth and the fact that him doing what he's supposed to do to catch a buzz. Then him catch a buzz, but with catching the buzz, he catches a bunch of enemies, and it comes with the territory. The haters, the jealous people that you made it, you're doing something they're trying to do but can't. So he was dealing with that, but then he kind of fell victim to the pressure. Maybe there was some ego there, and then him start run off him out. So then the third verse was going to start, and then Reef basically says, I'm not going to finish the story. It's up to you. How you think the story should finish? And there's a couple of scenarios that's laid out. Well, yeah, that's brilliant songwriting, and it is a breath of fresh air. It's a new twist on something that's been done before. So big up for that. Yeah, you don't know. So then we have the album's posse cut / symphony called Murderer's Row, featuring Dylan, Mike, Sonny, Salim Oxygen, and DJ Skipmo. Hope I got that right. Anyway, everybody on this song did their thing. Yeah, there's a bag of MCs here, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. Everybody held it down on the mic. Solid beat, dope cuts. Yeah, so it's what a posse cut's supposed to be. So yeah. But then we get back to the holy shit section of the album to close it out with the last two songs, which is All Be Over, featuring DJ Skipmo. Now, All Be Over, I was walking around listening to this for the first time. And when I started to hear what was being said, I literally stopped in my tracks and I was just standing there listening to this shit. And I was like, man, I try not to think about this shit, but he's right. And the subject matter here is, basically what's going to happen when you're gone. Are your loved ones going to be good? You going to leave you going to do everything you're supposed to do? You going to leave a solid legacy behind? It's some heavy shit, man. And when you just dwell on that, you're like, yeah, it puts stuff into perspective. Let's just say that. So, yeah, but then we have the closer, the Triumphant, featuring Earth the Villain, our villain. This is what made me tear up, because, the first verse, it kind of sets up what the second verse is, which is a pep talk to yourself. I believe when Reef wrote this, he wrote this for himself, but he wrote it in a way where he's talking to you. And if you are in a similar boat and you go through what you've gone through and you come to this point and you hear this, it can't not touch you right here. It's impossible. If it doesn't, you're not human. So yeah, I teared up. I'm not gonna front. And I applauded once it was done. What a hell of an album. I'd like to thank Reef from the bottom of my soul for providing this part of himself to us, the listeners. It helped me. It made me feel that, okay, there are people out there who share some struggles that I have to bear. And not feeling alone and feeling that there are people out there who gets it, that means a lot, bro. That means more than any Grammy you could ever get. That means more than any check with a bunch of zeros. That means more than any amount of radio play or any amount of coverage from blogs. When you touch and save and change even one human's life, you are one of the special ones. So yeah, thank you for this, yo. From the bottom of my soul. Can't stress that enough. Big up. I have spoken.
Stop recording video.